The modern bass boats will outrun it with fucking ease. The jet skis are at least as fast. It's just loud and looks cool, you know. And
Yeah.
like that old car, 350, 400 horse, it'll do awesome fucking burnouts and look cool and sound amazing and have a great time. And that's
Well,
what
I'm
it's
not.
about. That's the whole point. Well, and ultimately, my simple advice for that thing is find a 3/4 ton 2-wheel drive that's been rolled, pluck the drivetrain, transplant it in the hole, off you go. You're done. Like, it'd fucking be awesome. But okay, John. Everything gets into this. Well, it's well, I mean, in fact, it really is the new small block Chevy. But that's not even like a pun or nothing. It really is. Oh, okay, okay. So I'm just dying to tell my funny story here. Oh, it may be next time. It's getting a little late here, but uh, well, we can try again tomorrow possibly. But anyway, we'll get to it and see how far we go. So, okay, so the boy's 14, yeah. We're learning to drive, and so he likes to drive the Jeep. It's a manual. He likes the clutch, and he does a great job. He drives all around the neighborhood. I haven't let him out on the real road yet because, quite honestly, my little stretch of 2-lane highway over here is scary as fuck, especially in the Jeep. I'm not ready to get in there with him for that yet. So, uh, dude in the neighborhood uh, sells me firewood. So I've got this little, like 10-foot with the ramp on the back, little trailer like you buy at the farm store. You know what I'm talking about? Like you put your golf cart on
Yeah.
or your side by side, whatever. Right. So we got one of those. We stick it on the back of the Jeep. We take it to the neighbor's house. I drop it off. He fills it with wood, calls me. I go get it. Uh, So anyway, it's in the yard here. I tell him, go hook that up, back it down here by the door. I'll move the truck out of the way. We're going to carry this firewood in because we need to go over to the brother's house and get this mower because the engine on the go-kart blew up. So he fixed the log splitter for my brother so that he could have the 25 horse Kohler twin off the zero turn. We're going to turn it up the other way, delete the governor, put his big flat slide carburetor he's got on it, and stick it on the go-kart. So the adventure is to unload the trailer and go get the donor vehicle. So he backs the trailer down between the cars, down to the door, actually hits the parking stop block, sets the brake, shuts it off, and we start unloading the trailer. And he says, "Oh, hey, we're going to leave in that in a minute. Let's let it warm up." I'm like, "Yeah, that should be fine. Make sure it'll sit there." So he gets in, starts it up, Yep, it sits there. We get out. For like 8 more minutes, we're unloading the trailer, right? Daughter's inside, boy's in the middle. I'm out next to the trailer. I hand him a piece of wood. I turn around. The whole rig has jumped the block and is rolling down the hill all by itself for whatever reason. So I go running up there, yank the door open, dive in foot first, right as it fucking smashes the gate of the trailer into the garage door of the shop. And this slams me, tailbone first, right into the fucking post for the door latch. It's like hitting your funny bone right there. And now I'm all hobbled up. Of course, he felt bad. He's like, "Man, I'm sorry. I thought it'd stay." And I'm like, "Shit, man. I thought it'd stay. Like, it stayed for a while even."
Yes, they're idling. Well,
Like,
yeah. I mean,
Like, I mean, it idled. I mean, for several minutes, easily 5 minutes plus. I mean, this thing's got a half a cord of wood on it. We're carrying it in one stick at a time through the doorway, across the shop, and over some shit and around the corner because there's a bunch of crap in here we're working on right now. Oh, so instead of going and getting our donor vehicle, we spent the rest of the time with big pliers and sledgehammers and pry bars and things, putting the door back together.
But of course,
So that was,
and of course it's gonna snow, so yeah, you kind of got to put the door back on.
oh yeah, like it knocked like all but two rollers off one side and two off the other. It's got a pretty good draft in one side, but it's not terrible. It goes up and down at least. So, well, we'll wait for a tornado and claim it in a storm.
Yeah. Yep.
Luckily I hit a deer
like I
in
said,
the
that
truck.
premium's got to be good for something.
Oh, actually, my insurance saved my butt this year. I hit a deer in the truck, and behold, I got some work for the winter when there ain't shit to do.
Yeah.
I worked on my truck for a week or so there. Panned right out.
I'm on the other side of the field.
I saw you.
The other.
He hired a worker, and his worker's going a weird direction compared to the rest of the world.
Screwy, like it wasn't squared off like like it turned around.
But it's going that way, and I'm going back and forth normal.
Yeah.
So that way, at least we are not getting in each other's way. This is a big field.
It is a big field. Oh, so your topic, John.
Yeah, hang on. I got to alt tab and.
She reminds me of that time.
My window around. Okay.
So we went from Missouri into Nebraska there at the Fall City Bridge.
Oh yeah.
And I seen this tractor off. Yeah, and I see this tractor off in this field, and I'm like, damn, that's a tiny tractor for the size of that field. And then, we go into town, we do whatever. We're coming back. And when we come back, he's up at the front of the field near the highway, and it's like a big Cat Challenger and a giant fucking disc. And then I went, oh, right, it's 2.5 miles back there.
Yeah. What? Well, okay, I mean, this goes way back, but didn't that bridge get taken out a while back and they had to rebuild it, or?
No, it didn't get taken out, but it did get replaced.
Okay.
They took it out after.
I mean, that's a hell of a bridge for not much of a high. You know what I mean? It doesn't go. It goes somewhere, but it doesn't go anywhere. You know what I mean? It's not like a. Main...
it's a pretty main link. There's only so many places to cross
yeah.
the river up there.
Well, I guess
North Dakota City to Omaha, there's only like 3 spots.
A piddly town, I guess that.
Yeah, there's really nothing at the crossing. That little bitty town. But there was a lot of traffic through there, and the railroad bridge was a really big link. Like, there was a train every few minutes, kind of thing.
That reminds me of that night in many a couple of nights.
We wandered off your topic again.
With the paddle boat and
stuff. No. I might still be hungover.
Well, I wasn't thinking necessarily that time, because God, there was that time Jason was along, and there's a couple of us. I know the time you're laughing.
We had a lot of fun in that fucking mud hole. You know what? We did.
Oh, we had a lot of fun in a lot of mud holes. Didn't matter where we were, I guess. To be honest.
Well, I live on a big fucking mud hole now. But anyway, what's your topic?
Oh, okay. Yeah, and this we'll see how, and it might I got to thinking of it. It's buy once, cry once purchases or situations, and I got an example, but and do you I mean, you get what I understand what I mean by that, right? Buy once, cry once.
So I got an idea. Maybe get through your example.
Okay, my example, and it's not going to be what you think, because you figure it all schools or something like that. No, hang on, put it around. I'm going to do the headline. See somebody come. Okay, buy once, cry once. Okay, I wanted to bring it up because honestly I can't believe that I did it myself, or we did it, but I just spent, you can believe it, $145 on a frickin' frying pan. And let me okay, all right, yeah, all right, and then this wasn't Katie's idea. This was my idea. I've been so tired of buying basically a 5-quart, with lid and handle on the end saucepan, And here's the deal. A pan like that, I mean, we use, I'm not joking.
Are you digging at the poor man's boots parable here a little bit?
Well, maybe, but more like, here's the thing. We got married and everything, and I don't even think we got his wedding present. I think we bought it. But bought it happened to be a Tefal brand, but and I don't even know where we got it, but we paid $30, $40 for something, which was kind of a lot of money too at the time. Think way back, now. Got, I don't know, 6-7 years out of that thing. And then the handle, the rivets on the handle got loose, And it's like, all right, got to replace it. And then got a replacement, got maybe about 2 years out of it. Bought a Tefal. They didn't make the same model, but thought, oh, Tefal, good. Obviously, they cheapened things up. And then that one junked out. And then we bought something else. All in this, like, $25 to $40 range. So. And
we've done this with electric griddles.
This last pan.
Electric griddles. The ones you plug in that you put on the counter.
No, hate those things. But I understand.
I do too, but I tell this. I can tell you this very same story because of those things, because they all fucking suck.
Well, there might be a good one out there, but that's kind of where I'm going with this.
But it seems like there should be.
$50.
Yes, it seems like there should be. We bought a really good one once, and it sucked too.
Well, I guess where I'm going with this is the last pan, the pan before this $145 one. Spent, I think, $50 on it. It's Cuisinart brand, so it's decent, but still department store type brand. Couldn't even get a year out of it. Warped. Now the handle didn't get loose, but warped. The nonstick coating, and we don't use metal tools in any of our stuff. I'm on all wood, and I maybe have a couple plastic things. And we both use it. And again, like I said, literally every meal.
Pretty much somebody's going to run into my AI guy.
No, I'm not.
Well, anyway, I got so pissed off with this warped pan because I couldn't even fry an egg properly in it. Okay, or poach an egg. I mean, I do all that kind of stuff. Make like egg muffins or whatever. I got these silicone rings. They wouldn't. It was all warped to hell, so it wouldn't. Egg leaks out underneath there because it's not flat. And I was like, all right. So I was literally even looking for. Okay, live in a metropolitan area. Restaurant supply store. I'll buy a damn pan that the restaurants use, or. Well, anyway, start researching around.
Call my little brother. He'll hook you up. He knows what's up.
Well, anyway, ended up buying this. It's a Caraway brand, which I guess is a well-known for very high quality. And I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'll be sending an email or tweeting at him if it's no good. But anyway, ceramic coated, cast aluminum, very heavy, thick bottom, good heat transfer. I mean, we just have a glass top. We don't have an induction, but we have a pretty high end stove. Well, I mean, we've had it like 10 years, but it was high end then. Anyway, so far, love it. It's like cooking on cast iron without the weight, and then you don't really have to season it like cast iron to get the non-stick part. And the only reason we don't do cast iron, because we did that growing up, but is just on that glass top, just afraid of breaking the top of the stove, accidentally.
It leaves black shit on them.
Well,
too.
and maybe that too,
so
but
we had the glass top thing, and we used the cast iron up until the glass top, because then it left rings and was shitty. Now we've got this gas stove with grates.
Well, then you really
I don't know why we won't use our cast iron, but we don't.
Oh, because
So-
if you're cooking on gas, God, cast iron pretty much the only way to go. But my opinion, I guess.
That too, but
they're heavy. They're
you know what? I don't cook, so I don't argue.
Yeah, well, I do, so that's why.
You can do it.
That's why this was almost more kind of me jumping up and down about it and being like, "What's a good pan?" And there's a lot of other good brands out there. I just sidewalk, but I mean, again, that there was a cry because I can't believe I'm going to spend 104. But when I think about how much money I've thrown away in pans and hated them, and couldn't even get it was getting to the point where we couldn't get much more than a year out of a pan. It's like, all right, if I get 5 years out of this thing, I will be more than happy. So anyway, long story, I'm hoping money well spent. I think money well spent. It's so far, like, I can just tell this one's going to last at least 2 years. But anyway, so what is something like that? I mean, it could be tools. It could be, I have tool purchases that I finally bought, and I'm not just talking like Snap-on, Snap-on story, but I guess that was sort of my topic. And it could be anything. I mean, I don't care. Electronics, a TV, a set of tires, you know what I mean? Something you paid more, you paid a lot of relative to other options out there. You paid a lot of money, but it was worth it,
Oh, I got one. I was waiting on Chris.
Oh, go ahead. I can't really think of anything.
Oh, I got an
how about
example
something for your
anyway.
fish tank?
It's not mine. It's not. Well, yeah, that could be.
The what?
Well, like something for your fish tank. Like, okay, there's cheap pumps.
Oh, I do that all cheaply too. I'm cheap. I'm cheap,
Right.
and I still can't afford shit.
No, my
Actually,
my prime example. Okay, go ahead.
The closest thing would be my laptop.
Well, no, that's a perfect example. Rather than junking around with some, $400
But I was
gonna
junk around and I couldn't find junk, and so then I was like, "Well, let's see what this."
Well, that's a cry. Buy once, cry once, because look at what it's doing for you.
Yeah,
You're getting a lot of dang enjoyment out of it, and you made affiliate. Let's talk. Well, later after Derek's, we'll talk about that too.
Oh, we can go with that.
Oh, is that the AI guy up here? Sorry.
No, the AI guy. Well, the AI guy's Derek's. Oh, yeah, you were behind me.
Yeah.
You just.
Oh,
Derek might have to fix them.
My example would be the wife needed an office chair at some point when she ended up working from home. And I don't remember what the thing cost, but it was a bunch.
More than the $30 chairs you can get at Walmart. No, that's that's a good example.
It was 12, and she got it half price for 6, or she got it half price for 12. It's some giant name brand. I'm not smart in the subject. You probably know what I'm talking about. If she said it, you'd know it.
Probably, yeah.
It's some high-end ergonomic fucking badass thing. But it's like, if you're gonna be in it for that amount of time, you gotta have something worthwhile, or you're just gonna die. I mean, I spend money on boots because I stand in them all day. How is this different?
There you go. Yeah, you can buy the $30. Well, I don't think they're $30 anymore, but
here's an example. So did you get the poor man boots parable?
Yeah,
Did you know what I meant? Have you heard it? Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if you knew what I meant by it.
I have to do
I've
that
actually,
with. I have to
What?
do that with running shoes now. I can't buy cheap shoes. I have to buy the expensive ones.
See,
Well,
Chris.
you burn through them in a week. Yeah,
See,
there's
Chris,
your
now
example.
that you thought about it, yeah, you may be cheap everywhere else. Well, hell, so you guys may not think it, but hell, you look at this desk I'm sitting at. You know, I was too cheap to buy a computer desk, so I made one. But no, yeah, running shoes is a perfect example, because yeah, if they're just gonna hurt your feet and stuff, you might as well something that beat you up. Same with the office chair. I can totally relate to that.
Oh yeah, I have $200 ratchets and stuff too. You know, or did at one point.
Yeah, but
I have a fairly substantial DeWalt collection now too, actually.
well,
Which is fucking awesome. I've got the bandsaw, the Portaband. That thing's amazing. Can you get me blades for that, John?
well, those are standard off the shelf. I mean, we
You
stock
can't get me a good
we
deal
stock
on
a I mean, we stock a Milwaukee one. It's the same. But honestly, let's talk about the Portaband, because that's one of those when I do, that'll be a cry once buy once. I just haven't pulled the trigger, because it's like I wouldn't use it a lot, but then again, it's like some other tools that I've bought not good versions of and fought them the times I need to use them. So I'm like, is it
the $150 Harbor Freight one that you plug in the wall would be just fine in your world?
Yeah, see, I don't. Yeah, but see, I don't care. I want to get away from the dang cords, because here's my problem. Look, I have it's probably going on 15-year-old, but you know, a corded, you know, keyless Chuck DeWalt drill, you know, the one everybody had, still going great. I beat the crap out of it, and it'll take more. But here's my biggest gripe with it: is it's always coming unplugged.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hauling it up the ladder. I'm dragging it around. I'm just moving around, and the damn thing comes unplugged. So I guess you see where I'm going. I don't want a cord. Again, occasional use. I don't want a cord tool. But I guess that's the thing.
I don't
have
little two-stroke things, because I don't want to start shit.
I can
like for real. I've got 2 battery chainsaws, and I'm gonna buy a fucking leaf blower too.
As usability, because do you like it? I guess does it get in to cut? You know what, the form factor is what I'm getting at, to cut what you want most of the time. Because here's what I'm doing: I'm digging. I'm hauling off the shelf my nice, whatever it is, 12 or 14-inch chops, or I have a little 6-inch guy for little stuff, you know, to just make a simple cut, you know. And I don't even like doing that, because again, gotta haul the cords out and everything just to make. Well, hold on.
What are we talking about?
The Portaband.
The chainsaw?
No, the Portaband.
Oh, the Portaband. Oh, so I spent like $300 on the DeWalt 5.5-inch one. Okay. So is the one I got. And if you're asking what it'll do everything the big Milwaukee 5.5-inch when you plug in the wall will do.
Well, no, I guess what I'm asking is, will it make most cuts that you want to make? Like, can you physically get the saw around the things, or is it a pain to hold? Yeah. Is it awkward?
No. Okay, it's
I mean, okay, I need, you know what? I need to make two random cuts on.
Yeah, it'll do anything you want to do.
Is it the tool? Is it the tool you're going to reach for?
Yes. Okay. I use it almost exclusively.
All right, that's what I want to know.
I don't plug the Death Ray in for nothing if I can keep from it, and I really hate using my grinder. If you can bench it against something, it'll cut it, and it'll fit 5.5 in the throat.
Okay.
I want to say, I mean, it'll cut. You can't quite 45 4-inch tube with it. Oh wait, yeah, I did.
See, I'm not always going to be looking for precision.
I'm lying to you. I did do that, and that's like I mean, are you going to do anything bigger than that ever?
No.
Right, and if you do, you put a 6-inch wheel in your 4-inch grinder, and you nip the last little bit it won't reach.
Yeah.
because you went at it from both sides. I mean, it'll cut 8 inches deep total if you go from both sides. I cut poles off in the air and fall them like trees,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
like I've cut fucking trailers in half.
Okay.
We went to the steel place the other day, and I didn't want to take the trailer, and I knew some of my dimensions, so I slapped a battery in it and threw it in the back seat, and we drug the steel out. He's like, "I'll throw it out the door for you," and we just rolled the tape measure out, cut it into pieces right there in the parking lot, and threw it in the truck. It took fucking 3 minutes. Yeah,
Okay,
buy
yeah,
one.
see,
It'll be the greatest fucking thing you've ever bought.
well then, and see, I'll buy the Milwaukee one just because that's the batteries I'm into. But you know,
I've actually I'm a Milwaukee fan. I would have went Milwaukee, but when I started, I already had some DeWalt shit
well,
left
exactly.
over.
Here's
So
the thing. I think,
I got like $400 in already. Might as well go down this road
well,
because it's all basically the same.
again, exactly. I mean, there's differences. I mean, but like,
Oh, whatever.
For me,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna notice huge disparity difference between one or the other. You know, I mean,
I have both DeWalt chainsaws too. I have the little one and the big one. I bought the little one year before, and we cut wood with it all year, and it was great. And the batteries run a long time. I bought the big grinder with the 60-volt battery.
Yeah.
And you put that on the little chainsaw. Thing runs forever. I've got several of them batteries now. I think I could run it all day. And the little saw was great. It cuts good. It's quiet. It's fits in your hands nice. It's pretty good. I liked it. So I bought the big one.
See, that's
the big
it.
one's okay.
I'm almost going to pull the trigger for the little one for just more processing than anything, because you remember maybe
if you're going to trim limbs in your residential yards for your house and your rentals, go buy you the cordless one. It'll do everything.
Exactly. Well,
it'll start every time. It's fucking quiet. It doesn't weigh shit.
Well, I tell you,
when you set it down, it doesn't jitter away and fall off the sun.
Right. I know. I don't know if you never saw it. I mean, we had it for years. It's this little yellow McCulloch. It's the model 2014, but it's the Eager Beaver. Was a little 14-inch bar saw. I forget what size. I mean, this thing's from either the early 90s or late 80s. They made it forever, but ours.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I love the size. I mean, and everything. Because I could run that with one hand, and it was perfect for that little stuff. Well, I kept repairing it. I never put rings in it, but I mean, fuel lines degrade, the primer ball, all this normal stuff. Well, what really did it in is finally the plastic fuel tank finally degraded and cracked, and then same with the oil tank, and you could still get replacements, but it was something like each one was like $30, and it's like, I think it's done, because it was about time to put rings in it and do something like that, and
anyway. I'll tell you what, if I'm gonna climb a tree and trim branches, I'm taking that DeWalt 12-inch saw.
And see,
it's good. It'll bury the blade and fucking eat.
And this has been about 5 years. This has been about 5 years ago. But then I bought, I guess I'd say, upgrade, because that's the other thing is I just had the one saw for out here, because most of the wood I'd scrounge was somebody already taken down a tree, and then they don't know how to get rid of it, and I just would do some processing. Well,
right.
14-inch bar, sometimes it's perfect until it's not, and so I bought a Farm Boss, essentially, steel Farm Boss, and I love that, but then it's kind of too big for some things,
It'll do the little branches, but fuck, it's heavy, and you gotta
wheel it around and stuff. So yeah, I'm seriously, and again, I'll probably go Milwaukee. I've seen some tests. They're
all pretty good.
But
my only complaint, so the 12-inch saw, like I said, torque for days. It pulls great. It's amazing. It's light. The big saw, for whatever reason, instead of having a chainsaw style safety where it's in your palm, they went like cordless tool with the little thumb button thing, and it's awkward as fuck.
You have to keep it
and
held
it just
down,
makes my
too.
wrist hurt.
Do
what?
You have to keep it held down too.
Well, once you've pulled the trigger, it's there.
Okay. See, my
So
cordless.
it's not too bad, but it's just sort of obnoxious, and I don't like it. And then I don't know. It feels kind of lightweight and plastic, and it overheats the batteries. That's my biggest complaint. If they'd have put 2 of them big batteries on it and a little more frame, it'd have felt like a fucking saw, and it had enough ass to drive the motor, and they'd fucking have something.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe, and that's a DeWalt, right?
Maybe we need to make one.
Well, no, it's a DeWalt, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know DeWalt came out with their new, what they quote, power stack batteries, and those have different cells in there, and they have a better discharge rate. That might you have to look into it. Go research around a little bit. But this one YouTube channel, it's called Torque Test Channel. They mostly do like impacts and other things of that nature. And they did just comparing batteries, and that's how I found out about it. And they take them apart and stuff, because they, rather than what the batteries you have and like I have, I'll have like 18650s in it, which are pretty standard. Otherwise, there's a 26 whatever, which has a higher discharge rate and higher milliamp hours, so I mean, it'll last longer. But I've heard those are better for higher demand pools, so maybe that might help that problem. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and part of it is you don't get any feedback on how hard you're pulling it. Like, if you don't bury the bar, and if you're only cutting kind of small things, it's not really a problem, and it does just fine, and I don't have much for complaints. But, I can't say that it gets any more wood cut for the battery. It's just a little faster.
Well, it's more, like you said, lightweight and convenience.
It always just runs
type of deal.
You can't cut wood for a living with it. Let me put it like that.
But,
You're not.
But they weren't. They weren't made to do that.
No,
they're a homeowner saw. I mean, they're.
But I can take that and a couple batteries and the kids, and we take the side by side and we go out in the woods, and we'll make a couple trips with it, or 3, back to the house with that side by side with a couple batteries, or 3, depending on, if we get into hard cutting boggy shit and you hit a rock halfway through, you don't get very much. If it's easy cutting and you don't hit nothing, you get quite a bit. Or if the boy runs the saw, we don't seem to get as much done. Remember those days? I was a teenager once too.
Yeah.
But yours aren't. You got a little while yet, I guess, don't you, John?
Oh yeah, for that kind of stuff. Well, he this summer, like I had some stuff, like I had some big old stumps that actually. Down the street, somebody was taking out a tree, and the tree company, I ran. Well, actually, Katie did, because I was at work, and she's like, "Hey, come, just dump them up here." And I come home, and there's these things were, it was the trunk, and like I said, I got a Farm Boss, and that's got a 18-inch bar, I think on it, And
you're the only one that comes home and goes, "Yay! Somebody dumped their brush in my yard."
Yeah, but I mean, here's the deal: these were cut down. They were cut, but I couldn't move them. I couldn't roll them. And these things they were over 2 foot in diameter. I forget exactly what it was, but I had to cut them down just so I could get them out of my way eventually. And so I had to make, one cut on one side and try to line it up. You know how that goes. But
cut your way around.
Exactly. But anyway, they finally dried out, and we split them. Well, Chris helped me split the last little bit of it actually when you were out here. But he can finally lift things, and he'll load them into the wheelbarrows and stuff and move them over to the wood. Well, he can't push a full load in the wheelbarrow over there. He tries, but he'll at least load up. I've got two sort of decent wheelbarrows and one really crappy one, and he'll load it all up for me, and then he'll unload it too. He just can't get the big pieces yet because he's only 6. So I mean, no, I don't. Yeah. I don't quite have a slave yet, but he's getting there.
We struggle because Ashley can't carry heavy things quite like the rest of us sometimes, and I forget she's not. She's almost as tall as Aaron, but she's like half of him, really.
Yeah, I've seen pictures.
and I forget, Of course, she invites her little friend over one day. We're out cutting wood, and she goes, "Hey, my friend so and so wants to come over. Is that okay?" And I'm like, "Shit, yeah, we can use help carrying wood."
Yeah.
Right. So her little friend shows up, and she's like waist high and weighs 20 pounds. Looks like she's 4. I'm like, oh, never mind. I guess y'all go play. That cost me help, damn it.
Yeah.
Like, I went to hand her a stick, and I'm like, well, fuck, this is bigger than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't grown yet. It's funny, they're all at that age. Some of them shot up, some of them ain't.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, well, kind of changing the subject, but kind of on topic, is I've been transferring VHS tapes and such, and I found, like the music programs in elementary. So of course you were 6th grade, so you only had to endure like one of those. Got here, but but yeah,
I'm sorry there was 3
but it's
or
like
4.
little, but like it was I like Jeff Herky, he's like tiny,
Right.
And like you could tell, like you and Joe, you guys were towering over everybody, and then everybody else was in the middle, somewhere in the middle, It was funny because I was transferring the video. Well, what I'm trying to do is get all of Jody's track and stuff. Like I did all her high school stuff, gave that to her on a thumb drive of high school stuff, and now I'm trying to find all her college stuff, and I ran across this tape that goes back a bunch of tapes back home that I thought I had everything out here, but I didn't. So anyway, I've been going through like really old stuff. Well, actually, Chris, I forgot to tag you in that, but I know you saw it. I uploaded 1995 Star City Parade.
Yeah,
which you're in that.
I shared that just so that I had it in my memories.
Okay, well, share like.
And I watched a little bit of it while I was at work.
Okay, well, take the link and send it around, because you're probably friends with those folks that I'm not.
Well, there was a few people that saw it on my page that I was like, oh, I don't know if they're friends with John.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't be. I mean, I don't know if you're, like trying to think. A lot of your classmates and stuff, I wouldn't be friends with necessarily.
Yeah. Well, I'm not friends with a lot of my classmates.
Well, put it this way, I was like early on, but then, it's like, okay, we don't interact. Oh, wait for you.
Hey, I'm gonna bail on you when I get to
cool.
the end of the club there.
I'm glad.
I'm gonna go find an ice pack.
Okay.
Well, no, it was good talking. I mean, let's keep going, Chris. I'm game for at least another 20 minutes or something.
Okay.
Or maybe a little more. We'll just see. Let's see if we can keep whittling away at this field. Make that motherfucking money. But yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to think. Maybe.
Well, like Preston Pick liked it. You remember him?
Yeah, and we used to be connected, but I went. This has been years and years ago, maybe 10 years ago. I kind of cleaned house of friends and stuff. But yeah, that's what I was hoping, is like people like that just like I said, it's I'm share the link around. They can find it.
Yeah.
Like I said, it doesn't really have any personal stuff in it, so I kind of like, no, everybody, put this up here. And the funny part is I happened to find that was on a separate tape, and we had actually taped other like home movie stuff onto the tape, but it had the entire broadcast of that year of Harvest Harmony on it too. So we and see, or not Harvest Harmony. What am I talking? Star City. And
Yeah, that
and
was
see,
Star City.
my mom did the videotaping, and my dad and sister were there because there's pictures of them. Because this is before Jody was too young to march at the time. So must have set the VCR to record it when they were away. And so I'm like, oh wow. So I like watched through the whole thing to find us to see if we made a TV, and then picked out that part, transferred that and then picked out that part. And actually, my mom taped like probably about every other band. So, if we wanted to watch Elwood or Bertrand or Oxford.
Yeah, but I didn't really know any of those guys.
Well, neither did I, but like they're there, like Exner and Fillmore and thinking of some of the other ones that were there. Then, of course, then Lincoln and the huge band.
Yeah.
Um,
UNL, because
Yeah.
that was the thing. Was they always talked about UNL doing it, but then they always like, but they're not a marching band, so they're not going to be like us or.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is I watched one year a live like the live stream and saw Alma and stuff, and then occasionally Ritter will post like on the public page for school, like some practices or maybe other parades they went to. And it's like, and I don't know if it's just just not that many kids in the school doing band or something, but it seems like it's a lot smaller, or they're not, or they don't have the 8th graders in there. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Well, they don't, because I think the last time I saw, they have like a junior high band now too. That's separate.
Because I didn't remember. Well, I mean, I did, but when you see it, I was always, because I was way up front, you were in the back, so
Yeah.
I didn't realize how. And Katie even commented on it because Bertrand's was always really small, and we occasionally competed against them. But yeah, like we had a huge band in those years. Yeah. I never really realized it. It didn't.
Yeah, but and then you also you realize, or maybe, I'm sure you probably did, but how many jocks we also had on our band? Because whenever we did pep band, like if it was football, half the band was gone, or if it was basketball,
yeah.
there was like 2/3 or 1/3 of the band was gone.
Yeah.
Well, actually, maybe about half, because you got women's and boys, so
yeah,
girls and boys,
but yeah. Well, and you know what? Speaking of pep band, that's one thing I don't have any footage of, and I wish I did, just because at least a little bit is playing pep band. But there would have been no reason to like. My parents didn't
not
go
to really tape that. Yeah.
Well, that's it. Why would you do that? Kind of thing. I mean, hindsight, but well, just because pep band probably was one of my favorite things, along with marching. Concert, was okay. Like so. I mean, I mostly always just did band just for something to do, just different. Not everybody does that or did it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It wasn't to be the best or not that. Well, and of course we got to go places too. But
and I probably did it the same as like you did. Like I don't remember. I just started playing an instrument, but like with choir and stuff, I didn't realize that I would go as far, because I was into all the show choirs and doing solos, and I didn't know I was really going to go that far doing that stuff.
Yeah, I kind of thought about trying to do it, but I just didn't have the voice for it. I would like have to really work at it a little bit, and it just was like, well, I'm already doing band, and you know, I guess I just didn't quite have the voice for it, you know. But it did look kind of fun.
That was, I liked what I really liked was, I mean, you got to experience a little bit of that. What I really remember is going to districts, and I mean, you got to experience that with the band and stuff. But but they always did, like, they did the big stuff one day, and then they do the little stuff like the next day and stuff. And the little stuff was when it was actually, I had maybe a little bit more fun doing that, but
yeah,
because you just go and you'd hang out all day, and you only had to, like, well, I did both a trumpet. I think one year I did a trumpet solo and a choir, a singing solo, and then I think the next year is like I realized I could probably do better at singing, so than I could at the trumpet, so I just focused on the singing.
Yeah, and I can't remember what I did in that. See, I don't think I did any solo stuff, but I know I did maybe wet or something thing. But with the flute, obviously.
But then I guess maybe part of it too is like, because I didn't do track, but it was about as close as you could get to doing like what the track kids did, which was basically they'd get an extra day off of school.
Yeah.
And maybe they only had like 2 or 3 events, but they had like the whole day off.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. The only thing that was like, and maybe that's why I don't like remember the band days, like the big days so much, because I was in band and choir and show choir, so like that day was just busy because I had one thing to do and then the next thing to do, and then whereas the solo days you only really have like, unless you signed up for a whole bunch of stuff like duets and stuff, you really only had one thing to do. So
my favorites was well, pep band first, marching, call you pep band, then marching, and as far as like marching, I mean, it's fun kind of at the football game. Yeah, that wasn't field march, but liked.
never got a chance to do that.
But I like probably like Minden Band Fest kind of the most, or those kind of competitions. I mean, Harvest Harmony was okay. I mean, Starfit City was pretty neat just because it was so long. I mean, you got kind of tired, but Harvest Harmony kind of was like, yeah. I mean, I just always, but I do remember in the football days that the Dundee County, when we'd have to play Dundee County away. Dundee County game would always fall right before it. You get home at like, from that at like midnight, 12:30, and then you had to be at school again at like 4 or 5 to get on the bus so you get to Grand Island in time or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I guess my favorites were always like Harvest of Harmony and the Star City, but that was because
you got to go to the mall afterwards.
Yeah, you got to go to the mall afterwards, and that was always.
I mean, Harvest Harmony made up for it that way, but just the parade itself seemed less about the bands and more about just advertising. I mean, Star City was the same kind of parade, but at least there were so many bands. It felt more musical than Harvest Harmony. Even though it has it in its name, you know. I just liked all the corners and stuff that you got to do in Lincoln, just because I thought that was kind of our specialty, you know. Like all the ones that just marched in a square, you know, they just all walked around the corner. Here, no, we stop, do like the swinging gate deal, you know, all in form and all that stuff.
Always had to work extra at that stuff. Like,
well, you were in those back rows. Well, you were in the back
well,
rows. So you had those huge long rows.
It never failed every year that we did marching band. Like at some point, he pulled me out of line and he pulled me behind the whole band, and we would just focus on marching.
I don't remember.
Like, I always had a problem getting in step at the beginning of the year.
I guess I didn't remember having too much trouble. Of course, again, I was always in a line of 2 or 3, maybe. Well, I was in the line that had 4 of us in that video, but then I went at the front, so it was way easier. And then it was, of course, easy. And that, of course, yeah, I remember. So Lisa, the drum, you know, the whatever leader, drum major,
the drum
major.
Yeah, I think that's what they call them or whatever.
I don't remember anything distinct, but I just remember she was kind of like, she was always, you know, had a perfect cadence, I guess, to follow. Yes.
You might have been a little bit too young, but do you remember when it was Beth Knudsen that was our drum major at the time? Were you
that might have been,
and then that might have been before you.
Well, I would have been in like, I would have been in like Lisa. 6th grade. It would have been, I think, 6th grade or whatever. So,
well, the reason why I bring that up is, so I have a funny little story. We were marching around town, and I can't remember the guy's name. He was shoot, my mic cut out. He was handicapped, disabled, you know, like mentally handicapped.
Wayne Kinsman.
Yeah, that's who it was.
That's the only one. That's before you even said the mentally handicapped, I was just thinking, I bet you're talking. Yeah, he used to watch or follow around. I remember that.
Well, no. So we're marching down the roads. He came out one day and he started chasing her around, and while we're marching, and she got out of line, obviously. It started running around, and she, like, at one point in time went and hid behind, like, Mr. Ritter, trying to get away from him.
Okay,
and the rest of us were we just kept on marching like, you know, nothing was going on.
Gosh, let's see. Well, can't remember if you'd been graduated at that time. Might have been when I was a senior, but I do remember. And you might not have been on that bus, because I remember sometimes I have to take 2 buses. But I remember, I was in Lincoln, and the bus driver like backed into a pole and broke one of the back, well, I don't think it broke the window. It might have cracked it, but it bent the corner of the bus all up. But here's the thing is, and I forget the driver's name. I know the face. It wasn't Dean or anything like that, but I think it was, I want to say it was like either Jeff Landon or Ben Lands was back there saying, you're good, and he had like a foot, you know. He's like, you're good. They thought he could see, and so they were like just sort of like, but he kept going until he hit the pole, and and like they were like, "Oh shit!" and then bam, and it just you heard this crunch or whatever. It was like a light pole or something. He backed into, trying to turn around in the parking lot or whatever. Let's see, and then and I had forgotten about it till Megan had commented on my post about when we got there late, and we're like running, and like whoever the junior hires that went along to like hand out the whatever the little things in our hats and just mind the stuff. Uh, we're running, and they're like handing us the thing for our hat and all the other junk because we were late. Like I think we got stuck in traffic as what happened, and then the bus driver couldn't find where to park.
Well, I was gonna say when she said that, I was like,
and
yeah, I don't
been,
remember that. That had to have been a year that I wasn't there.
Yeah. But there was that. Then I do remember, like, I remember Emily Morgan forgot her shoes, so she just had her tennis shoes, and so we were like wrapping them with athletic tape so they'd be white because they were like, like running shoes with like hot pink on them or something. Yeah, I mean, it's little things like that. Like I remember Ritter was like pissed, and so like I forget who, but somebody found some found some athletic tape and taping her shoes up so they'd be at least white. Wouldn't be obvious. Of course she played the trumpets. She would have been buried in the back, but like if one of the woodwinds, you're right up front, somebody's gonna know. I don't know which competition that was at. I remember that I don't remember anybody completely like forgetting their uniform or forgetting part of their.
It would have been pretty hard for you to do because it was all in one bag.
Well, yeah, I guess might have been somebody forgot their hat,
was all in bag.
Forgot a hat or something. But I know like they always brought extras.
Well, that's another thing is like, as long as you had the main uniform, I think they had the extras for everything else, and they might even had an extra like pant and coat if you. But
although I know like some not necessarily the trumpet, that was pretty. But bigger instruments, they'd be missing forget parts or missing part, they had more to haul around. That's I guess why that is one of the main reasons I chose flute, is because that was one of the cheaper instruments, but then mostly easy to carry, easy to march with, the case easy to tote around. Like I just put it in my bag and I had one thing to haul around, well, other than the hat box. But
I actually wanted to be a drummer, and Ritter was like, well, I'm only accepting two drummers that year. I think this was in 5th grade. He's like, I'm only accepting 2 people for drummers, and he was like, it's going to be first come first serve, and I didn't know that I was actually going to be like one of the first ones there. So, because he had to kind of pre-tell him what you were gonna take, and so I didn't put drum down. I was like, man, if I'd have known I'd have been the first one there, I'd have jumped on that. I was like, so I ended up actually taking my second choice, which was the trumpet.
Yeah, actually, I kind of wanted to learn drums, after I kind of saw what the drummers got to do afterwards. But I would have enjoyed it as much. I don't think I would have been, like ever be like Shane Moore good or whatever in those days,
I don't know if I would have been or not.
Or like I forget the Hammond girl, she was good.
Amber.
Yeah. I think who else was good?
Ryan McGinty was
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Yeah, no, I'm did, you know.
I don't mind what I did, and actually, because I took a year off, and then when I came back, or well, maybe I actually did it before. I I started playing baritone, and I actually told Ritter when I came back, because he's like, "Well, I'm not gonna put you back on trumpet right away." He goes, he's like, "I want you to kind of get warmed back up into it," and I was like, "Actually, I don't want to play trumpet. I want to play baritone because I had a lot of fun with that year that he had me. He was trained to teach me something, like to do something better, and so he wanted me on the baritone because he could hear the mistakes more, if I remember right, something like that. And I was like, well, actually, I had a lot of fun doing that, and you don't really have hardly anybody playing it, so how about I just do that?
Yeah. But I probably miss Pep Band the most out of it all. Just, I wished I had, some sort of video of it, just because I liked the songs we played, you know, um, because we did play a few more non-traditional.
Well,
And,
I
and it
only
was
got to
just
do.
well, and it was just fun being able, because I wasn't a basketballer or any of that, but it was fun to be able to sit up there and you kind of got pumped, and because you're pumping the crowd and stuff and providing entertainment, and it was just fun because I guess I liked the songs we played because I knew the real versions of them.
Yeah, I did like that part that we actually played some like rocky type songs.
Yeah, some I was gonna say classic rock, but more traditional rock and roll, like 60s.
Yeah.
Wilson Pickett and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
See, Pep Band, I didn't get to. I only got part of an experience because I got to experience it in 7th and 8th grade, but then when I got into high school and I started wrestling, I could only do it so often because
You have the wrestling.
I had tournaments on the weekend, and when you had to wake up early to go to tournaments.
Yeah, you didn't want to
I'd
go. Yeah, you didn't want to go to the Friday night games, but that was the fun
Yeah.
part, just because it was, you got to play 4 and at halftime, but the other time you got to, just sit up there and chat and or just eat. We get snacks or whatever, and you got to sit behind the scorekeepers and all that. Felt kind of important, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, or more like you had front row seats, kind of thing, which was what was kind
Yeah.
of fun.
Well, I guess I always equated it to kind of a little special because at that point in time, you were allowed in an area that not everybody could go to.
Well, exactly. Only band could sit on the stage and watch or be there or whatever. Yeah.
And I guess at that age, it's like, well, that was just kind of cool because you
Well,
never
and
get to really experience that.
and that's the thing. That's the
Otherwise,
social life. That's where you social. If you didn't play the sport, that's where you socialize.
I used to go though. I would when we get done with band, I'd cross over and then I'd go sit up in the stands somewhere.
Yeah, sometimes I would, but most of the time I'd just sit up there just because I liked it, and with everybody else. Well, it was kind of like yeah, at football games it wasn't quite the same because you just sat on the side of the bleacher, the one end of the bleacher kind of deal. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, and I actually liked watching games, even like the volleyball stuff, because yeah, some of the games would get pretty pretty good, good action.
I would occasionally watch volleyball. It would just depend on if I had nowhere else to go before the football games, and I needed to kill some time. It's like, well, either I go there or I'm driving around wasting gas or something.
Well, I guess that's the other thing is, it gave me something to do other than have to go home and then, not, of course it's at night. We wouldn't necessarily, but it would be kind of like, because I knew I had, would have to go over to the farm and do something, so it's like this was kind of the way to let off steam. But again,
Yeah.
like you live in the country, I mean, on the other end of the county where nobody else lived, so that's the only time I'm going to be able to talk to these people other than
Yeah.
where you could just be talk, just again socialize, I guess. And I don't know, it's probably still a little bit like that even back there, and then even like bigger schools, because I think of the kids and stuff who, like Katie knows that, and we actually went trick-or-treating at the high school that they will probably go to, and it's a pretty big high school. It's pretty impressive. Kind of, I mean, it's, I guess it's just after, I guess my frame of reference, it's like, wow, this is like college kind of,
Yeah.
kind of. But they have, I mean, so like their band is huge, stuff like that, and yeah, they like
Yeah,
a
but
whole
the thing
like they have
about
a
their
whole
band,
student, they have a whole student section, because it's so big.
but the thing about those places though is like you either do band or you do sports. There's no. That's why I always thought what was cool about our school is like you get to do everything that you kind of wanted to do, um, for the most part. There's a few activities that would, like speech and wrestling and basketball would never mix well, but like band and you could do that and still play football or basketball or
Yeah.
like I think at those bigger schools you have to pick one.
Well, and you kind of gotta, compete more to do them too. Of course,
Well, and
there's a
there's
lot more
sports.
choice now of things,
There there's
engineering.
sports. There's sports too. You actually have to try out for the team, and
Yeah.
well, and even in band you have to try out too. It's like, um, not like out here where it's just like, well, you sign up for everything. You
Well,
do everything.
because there's not enough people, kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah. But who knows? They're young. And, of course, there's so many. That's the other thing. There's so many other things like engineering, coding, robotics, clubs. That was the thing. Like this whole trick or treat deal. It was It was basically a trick or treated around the entire like lower level of the school, and each little table or station was a different club in there. I mean, there was 20 of them or more, different things. I mean, there's the normal stuff, Latin drawn,
Yeah.
ever, but there was these robotic kids that made all these robots, and it was like, here, just stand here and the robot will come, like they coded it to come and if you held out your hand, it like could track your hand and then put the candy in your hand, or if you held your bag just right, it would do that. Here.
Here, I was moving out of the way for you.
Okay. All right. Well, you can get what I missed there. Well, great. Well, let's see. Is this the last strip, or do we have another section?
No, this is, I think, it.
I know this kind of had a dog leg in it. Well, if this is the last bit, we'll call this will be a good stopping point.
Yeah.
I was hoping we'd be able to.
Yeah. Actually, the next time we play this map, will be in October, and we might be harvesting.
Oh, do you want to? Hey, well, you're passing me up. You can get my strip that I'm leaving because I can't quite get the whole thing. Needs one more pass. Oh,
we'll do harvesting, but that might be, I don't know. Like, this was kind of, well, I guess Derek could drive one of the combines and do like what he was doing today.
Oh, speaking of which, I might now 100% sure. So go with your plans, but I might be able to. I might jump in with you Saturday morning. So
okay.
Start on the field, the thing you want to do, and then if I
well, if you want to do that, I'd probably just jump into this.
Okay, well that's fine, but I'm not 100% sure. It just kind of depends.
Well, that's fine because I can just do whatever.
So do because you're gonna start before I'm probably literally out of bed, and then if I text you, then you can just shut down your map you're working on, load this guy up, and then hop in or whatever. But yeah, we'll see. Katie was kind of saying you need to stream this weekend or whatever. I mean, reason is like we're really ramping into high gear at work to get this data conversion and stuff going, and I'm part of the dream team that's making it happen. So she's like, you need to keep your mind off that kind of thing. So are you able to get that whole strip?
Yeah.
Okay. But so that's why I don't know. I might not. Tucker will be up. Well, he can watch and background.
And I think I have to get. I think. Well, I said that last weekend too. I think I'm gonna have to get a new remote. I don't know this remote.
But what I'm saying is start your normal thing, normal app you would want to work on by yourself, and then if I hop in, let you. If I'm ready to hop in, then you can shut down and load this up.
Well, no, I can just do this because there's plenty to do on this map, and we haven't really gotten anywhere. So
okay, well that's up to you. And I'll either text you or I'll just hop into your Twitch stream and message you there, like, hey, I'm gonna hop in. So
okay.
If you're not doing this map, but if you are, then I'll just. But anyway, let's see. What did we earn for this?
I haven't gotten it yet. Well, so here's the deal. Derek, because he hires a worker, we lose money on that. we lost that. Plus, we rented all the tractors, so I may have to rethink how I'm doing things, but that's okay. Because we're gonna end up going broke is basically what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because we only got half 500,000. That doesn't seem like enough.
We're not. I was trying to play this kind of seriously, but then it's like we've got just too much going on that's draining money and stuff, and it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't do it quite like that.
Well, let's keep the quote assistance to a minimum, but if you have to.
Well, I understand for him why he's doing it. I get it. It just makes it easier, and then that way he can just sit here and talk. But
yeah,
it costs us money, and
yeah, I didn't realize. I didn't realize that's what he was doing. I thought it was because he needed to. I don't know, mess with something. So it's like, oh, okay, I'll just have the AI do it while I go run and get a sandwich or something,
No, that's what he's doing, and then that way he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to run things or turn things around or worry about things, and I get that, but
well,
it's like,
I do. I do.
It's like.
Too. Well, then he might as well just hop in, chat, which would be just fine because that's fun enough, you know.
Yeah, well, I think he kind of has fun. Gives him something to look at too.
Well, that's true. But see, he could look at one of our streams, you know.
But he did buy the game, so he probably
Yeah, so
feels
you
at
got to
least.
feel like he's getting his money worth, I guess. Yeah, no,
But it's
yeah.
like, it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't. I guess I'm having a change of heart of how I've been playing even on my maps, and like, well, maybe I shouldn't play it so tight with the money.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I don't really care how you want to go about it. I'll just drive around, you know.
well, really, all we really care about is just we're trying to make whiskey. We're not like worried about the money or anything. I don't think so. I should just like forget about that. But if we're waiting on a cornfield to pop, and when we get the cornfield to pop, then we'll have the corn for the whiskey, and then we have to wait for, I think it was the barley.
Okay. And
But
then
the barley's gonna take
now does
like
it
a year.
now the whole like whiskey and distilling, does it kind of just happen, or do you have to truck the
Well,
stuff
okay,
there, or is there a
okay.
thing?
Well, go over to the whiskey distillery.
Okay, I mean I understand.
I'm there now.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So what we'll do,
I mean, I understand you're not going to go in, and we're not going to like be dumping sacks of grain in
so
there.
behind here we'll be dumping in the grain.
Well, I mean, we're
And
not
then,
like there's nothing
and
to
then
do in the building, you know, or anything, you know.
No, not really. And then on the front side,
you can't watch the bottling plant, I guess, is what I'm
no,
getting
we'll
at.
just see. There's on the front. There's a place for the pallets to appear.
Okay, now will we have to load cases of booze once it starts making booze? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because that's how you sell it.
Okay.
So yeah, there will be forklifting in here.
Oh, okay. What's our? Of course, we can't name it, so it's Yuling. Or no, that's the beer.
No, that's the beer company.
That's the beer.
It's called Clutch's Special Brown.
Okay, but you can't see. That's something. Since this is a custom map or whatever, seems like they should have left it away in a file. Like you'd have to go into like the, like the config file or whatever, and you know, like they give you instructions on how to go in, and you could change it. So at least it, you could name it whatever you wanted. See, it seems like that was a missed opportunity, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't think they do that on any of them, so.
No, I imagine not, but it just... But, yeah, I mean, no, this is a fun map to just casually do like we're doing it, because, and who cares if it takes us like a year to, get really anywhere.
Yeah.
Sign out here. Clutch's Special Brown. I mean, okay.
Well, the guy, I'm assuming. So I can't remember if he's a streamer or if he's a modder. I think he's a modder. There's a guy named Clutch Simulations, and I think that's what it's named after. Because I don't think this is what his map is, but I could be. I can't remember who. I can't remember who. Yeah, I think that's named after a modder or a streamer. Clutch Simulations.
You could
might be a friend of his.
You could
or something.
drive the.
Well, we have 2 pickups, so
Okay. Well, no, that will be exciting once we.
Yeah, well, and
But-
that's what I'm trying to get to. But part of it is like I'm just going through the year like you would normally,
Yeah.
and I'm just picking up jobs because we can.
Bye.
We should own this already. I think I bought it already.
Says owned by actions. I don't know. A little pop up corner. All right. Well, I think
yeah, we own this already. So yeah, I'll just plan on doing this weekend, and then that way you can just hop in if you want to, and if not, that's fine too.
And even if I can't go for more than an hour or something, we can see how much we get done.
I cut my stream.